Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to study about once again we are going to study about the nationalism in India. We have already studied about Swaraj, then civil disobedience, non-cooperation movement, Lahore session, Jallianwala Bagh Kand. So today we are going to take the Salt March. Salt March. The Salt March is also known as the Dandi March also. So it says on 31st January 1930, Mahatma Gandhi sent a letter to Viceroy Irvin. So, during this time, India's Viceroy, there was a Irvin, he was a Viceroy, and Gandhiji had sent him a letter and he demanded something. So, Irvin stating 11 demands. So in his letter, he asked for 11 things. One of which was the demand to abolish salt tax. This was one of the demand in the 11 demand. Salt was one of the most essential food items consumed by the rich and poor alike. And a tax on it was considered an oppression on the people by the British government So you know that salt is one of the essential mineral element which adds taste to your food. Whoever it may be rich, may be poor, may be a person from middle class, anyway, whoever makes food, they have to use a little salt to make food tasty and eatable. If you don't use salt, you can understand what type of food you are going to eat. And if you are going to add too much of that salt also, that is also won't be good. It will taste bitter. And so it is said that it was very essential for all the people, and the British government had imposed salt tax on salt. So Mahatma Gandhi wanted that this tax should be removed. The government should not take tax on salt. Mahatma Gandhi Mahatma Gandhi's letter was an ultimatum to the government, and if his demand were not fulfilled by March 11, he had threatened to launch a civil disobedience campaign or a movement. As the word says, civil disobedience, when you are not going to obey anyone. So he had already told the government that his demand should be rectified by March 11, and if it's not done so, he is going to take on the movement. Now, as soon Mahatma Gandhi started the famous Salt March, accompanied, means when he started this movement, he had 78 persons of his trusted volunteers. Means these were the people who had faith on Mahatma Gandhi, and they were ready to do anything that was told by or said by Mahatma Gandhi. So these people marched was over 240 miles. It says 240 miles, and you can understand that 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer. So now you can calculate how many kilometers is going to be when you convert 240 miles. So this was the distance that has to be traveled from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, to the Gujarat coast town of Dandi. So these are the two places. It started with Sabarmati Ashram and had to end at Dandi. It is at the seaport at Gujarat. This is the distance. The distance between the two places is 240 miles. The Mahatma Gandhi's volunteers who were eager to work with him willingly walked for 24 days. Now you can calculate, it was 240 miles, they walked for 24 days. So what will be the answer? About 10 miles per day. They used to cover the distance. As they were moving from one place to another, they started with Sabarmati, they walked for 10 kilometers. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi wherever he stopped. And he told them what he meant by Swaraj. So those people who came to listen to him, they were very fascinated by this speech, and some joined his campaign from that point only. The study said he had only 78 members, but as he was moving, one day after the another, his campaign, his caravan, his mass movement was becoming larger and larger, bigger and bigger. By Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. Like we have already learned that he was a person of non-violence. He did not like violence, so he asked people to work with peace fight against British with peace. On 6th of April, he reached his destination where he had to go, Dandi, and ceremonially violated the law. Which law? The salt law. Manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. So we already know that we get salt from oceans. When we evaporate the sea water, the water evaporates and only the salt remains. And as Dandi is on the sea coast, so he boiled the water out there, and whatever salt he obtained from the quantity, in this way he broke the salt law. And this marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. So Salt March is therefore called a Dandi March also. And in this way we fought against the British without violence, to say that India is ours and we can make our own salt and we will not pay any tax for the salt.